You've conquered your course, you've worn your gown, but you're most probably thinking, where do we go from here? What next?
What would be the cost of trying to establish yourself in the line of employment and fending for yourself?
And when the spiraling kicks in, who and where do you turn to for help when fighting the silent battles of your affected mental health?
Curious? Join us as we debunk this discussion. What is true, the statistics, the number? With me, your host, Wendy Lois.
Faith Chapkorir.
And Philippe Sinyembo. Don't want to miss out. Stay tuned.
Hi, with exactly 5 minutes past top of the hour, welcome to Nextgen 254 show. Another Friday conversation. My name is Wendy Lois, and today we want to debunk a conversation, the myths, the truth, and what is just not true about the transitions from university to the marketplace. And to help me get this conversation started with me today this morning is Alan. Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling? I hope you're good.
I'm good.
Fantastic. You can give yourself an introduction and then we pick it right from there.
So my name is Alan Mutai. I'm an engineer. I'm just transitioning right now from campus to the work environment now. Just recently completed school. Now on set to graduate.
Fantastic. Alan, this conversation comes at a very pivotal time, especially in our country. And this affects most African democracies where young people are going through school, but at the tail end of it, the dream remains to be a dream where most people thought they will land their dream jobs. And, the career takes off and that's about it. I would want to start by saying, I've had a conversation with you and yours was a quote unquote a smooth transition into the marketplace. How can young people in universities stay ready for the marketplace?
From my own personal experience, I can say that for guys specifically in my sector, because I'm an engineer, you have to upgrade your skill set. You have to make sure your skills speak louder than the academic qualifications, because everybody goes to school, everybody can finish school, but not everybody can do the same amount of work that you can do. I'd also like to encourage you guys to get those certifications, because if you're certified in specific environments, in specific work specialties, guys will consider you better for specific roles, even though you've just come from school.
Yeah. Alan, it's funny how most young people complain that you get to the marketplace and immediately you're being asked for 4 years experience, Tunasema vitu kwa ground ni different. So it's interesting that you mention you need more qualifications even as you study. So what are some of the skill sets and hard tangible skills that someone can inquire even as they are going through school to make them more market ready?
Currently, since we're moving through our age of technology, I'd like to encourage you guys to do specific short courses or certifications in technological environments, specifically AI, data science, data analysis, and anything around that environment, because those are currently what are hot in the market. Yeah.
That's true. AI is the new you and I, It has made life way easier, but again, most people think it has come as a form of threat. What's your take on technological innovation and specifically the introduction of AI in the marketplace?
I can also speak from personal experience. I personally develop AI systems for my work environment. So personally, it has assisted me. It actually made me more valuable in the work that I do, because I learned how to use and to develop AI systems, which enables me to be better in my work, and also reduces the amount of work that I do physically now.
Yeah. Alan, it's alleged that 85% of people in African democracies are yet to interact with AI of any form, And the ones who have feel that AI has come to replace them. There's some truth to that, yeah. So how can we remain ready, especially in some technical areas of expertise like yours?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that AI has actually been there for a while now. It didn't start recently. It actually started early in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It's only been transitioning and becoming more pronounced in this particular period. So for guys to be able to move along with it and to be able to develop better around it, just encompass it around the work that you do. look for the environments that require AI and specialize in those specific environments so that you can also be valuable in the work that you do, also that it doesn't take over from the work that you do also, because people fear AI being the next employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan, I want us to digress a bit. You know, the conversation around unemployment and lack of opportunities for young people sometimes sits as a double-edged sword, where there are people who literally grow from glory to glory, one job to the other, and there are people who literally pack their things and go back to the village. How important are your networks when you're still in campus, looking forward to transitioning to the marketplace? Because many people stay blind and get into the marketplace and realize anyway things are thick and things are different. From your point of view, how important is it to leverage on networks and first of all even create them?
Our networks are everything, especially when you're about to complete school. Make sure you seek those networks, go for those events, those networking events, put yourself out there, do some projects even if they're volunteer work, because like I've done a lot of volunteer work also in the engineering sector, specifically mining and petroleum, and that's what actually assisted me. So go out and meet people in the events specific to what you do. Go out and meet those people, go out and make contact with them, build those networks, and also see where you can support them, even if it doesn't come with a pay.
Oh, yeah.
Because the pay doesn't have to come right now, but you're trying to secure what will come in the future.
Yeah, and what you're saying is very commendable. I would want us to simply go through practical ways to which we can make people or help people get ready, because here in our show we aim to continuously bring people information and talks that will inform, engage and empower them. So here you are saying we need to leverage your networks, we need to volunteer, so we need to build a profile. So how do you then package yourself for a brand that will be market ready, even as you still are going through the academic journey?
It also requires some sacrifice, because sometimes your academic journey will take a hit, because sometimes some of the work you will do will actually put you away from the academic sector. But in the long run, I can actually say it pays off. Well, it's paid off for me and a few other people I know. So be ready to sacrifice. It comes with a sacrifice sometimes, like as your social environments will also take a hit also, and many people you might lose connection with people, but yeah, be ready to sacrifice a lot. If yeah, I think that's what I can say.
So the sacrifice and the leveraging to networks brings it to that. You know, Alan, someone could be sitting somewhere and saying, you guys don't understand the hit that is there in the market. And I would want us to take a few seconds and dwell on some of the challenges that young people face, especially when they get into the job market. I don't know how your experience has been. What are some of the challenges you think young people are going through, even before we now get back to how do we make them be ready to face these challenges?
First of all, the biggest, I think, is pay. That payment to the younger generation isn't meeting with the current standards in the environment right now and the economic standards around. Secondly, the superiors will tend to undermine you. As you try to grow, you might face a lot of rejection, a lot of backlash from those above you. Also, since they may see you as competition or sometimes even as a nuisance. Also, you might also face a lot of, how do you say, a lot of, trying to look for the right word that doesn't,
Yeah.
the viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of frustration, because you might find that the current job that you wanted, the current job that you are in and the current job that you wanted do not actually match.
Yeah.
So guys should actually be ready to be flexible. As you're trying to move into the work environment, be ready to be flexible also.
Yeah.
Because work also changes.
Yeah, Alan, you see this point that you're raising is very key, because in different quarters that I've been and I interact mostly with young people, there's a big gap and a disparity between what is there in the marketplace, the value that you bring, and the entry level that you're coming into. Let's talk about the Gen Zs. You know, Gen Zs are leaving campus, and there's an element of entitlement that I have an undergraduate degree, I have a second-class upper or a first-class distinction, and therefore I think I should get to the marketplace and immediately earn 150 or 200. And so if that's not the offer you're giving me, Alan, then I'm sorry, I'm not taking up the job, you know? And we've seen on socials where they quit jobs unceremoniously, you know, because of mental health and all that. And we are not negating the fact that those are real-time life experiences. But Alan, there's also some reality into people only pay the value that they see you bring on the table. I would want you to speak into that.
That's necessarily true. Sometimes you just paid because you're an intern.
Yeah.
You just paid because of that position, not
Yeah.
because of what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be the smartest person in the room, but you might be the lowest paid as well. Yeah. Yeah. So for Gen Zs especially, like currently most employers don't like Gen Zs, like you said, because of our entitlement and also because we tend to speak our minds in the
Yeah.
workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't allow those workplace hazing and the frustration in the workplace that used to happen before for our predecessors in the workplace. So employers don't like it, and I can honestly say it's a bit tough, especially for guys who are coming in now. The current set of Gen Zs already working, already set a standard in the workplace. So most who are going to join the new workplace will be faced with a lot of gatekeeping. Yeah, we can say so.
Yeah, Alan, I mean, it's interesting. I sit here as you're speaking, and I'm just thinking, there's a standard that the Gen Zs are setting, you know, that we are woke, we are more enlightened, we are not like our folks, we know better, we want better, we will do better. But again, we can recognize the fact that this is a generation that will go through and is literally going through the shift as it's happening, you know, and with no bias to any gender. Sometimes there's a very big price to be paid during these transitions. You know, some are asked for money and some are asked for all that. In your own personal experience or in conversations that you've had people speak, what are some of the gravy and heavy prices that people have had to pay, you know, just to be able to transition smoothly into the marketplace?
I know this will be a bit contentious, but I have a few female friends who asked for other favors in return for getting a job. Also a few guys as well, which is questionable a bit. I've also had a bit of competition where they set unnecessary standards for guys who are going to join the workplace. And also, sometimes you find that just take you based on feeling. Yeah, that's what my previous boss.
Yeah.
That's what she used to hire people based on. She wasn't a bad employer, but she had questionable methods. Yeah, because she used to hire you based on feeling. If she doesn't like you, you won't last long in the workplace.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see, our education system primarily was set to teach us, go to school, get a good education, you'll get a good job, you get a good life, and retire, and that's it. But things have changed with technological evolution and the wokeness that we have as a generation. Things have really changed. Therefore, this means people literally graduate, the education system hasn't made them market ready, and therefore you get to the market and you meet shockers, you know.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you met when you were getting into the marketplace that were shockers, and generally in a 360 view that young people experience during this transitional period?
Okay. For me, I didn't experience all that as much because I was employed while I was still in high school, while I was still in campus. But some of the things that I faced, or at least I saw guys go through, one simple example is that the job description and the work you're going to do are not the same.
That's true.
Yeah, because like for my work specifically, on the job description it says overseeing mining operations, but when you get to a mining site, you're the one who's actually sent to go and work underground.
Yeah.
And there are actually people who are actually employed to do that specific line of work. So you're putting yourself in more danger with less pay and also with more liability to yourself only.
Yeah. Do you know what you were doing in the marketplace? We call it KYO, kazi ya mkono. Yani wewe ulikuwa mtu wa kusaidia hapa na pale. But sometimes we appreciate the element that you have to really start at entry level before you grow, because those are some of the harsh realities that we have to deal with. As we wind up the conversation, but the show has so much packed speakers that are coming after us, and the panels that will be speaking so much into how these transitions will be happening. There's a young person who is literally at the tail end of their studies, and they're wondering, what now? What next? How do I go about it? So much fear has been instilled in them. So many false and true theories that are in the marketplace have been taught to them. What's your one word advice to them as they prepare to transition?
What I can tell my fellow Gen Zs, or other people who are actually going to complete school, because it doesn't necessarily have to be Gen Z, the work is there. That's what I came to realize. Once you step into the work environment, the work is there. You really have to align yourself to the specific work that you want to do. You also have to be flexible enough to change up so that you can be able to be fit for the employment sector. Because a lot of the systems that are there right now are dynamic, so they keep changing from time to time. So you have to be able to change and be flexible as well to be able to fit into the work environment so that you can also have a place in the employment sector.
Fantastic. Alan, we appreciate you for making time to be here with us this morning and sharing such insightful thoughts and experiences from your point of view. We say asante sana. Yes. So remain flexible, be ready to adapt, and just be able to pivot into the new technological era. AI is the new you and I. Here at Nextgen 254, we continue bringing you conversations that will inform, engage, and empower you. But just about now, we can do good with a little bit of break. We will have Kibet, who will be introducing our guest, who will be giving us a good number for us this morning, and I will be meeting you on the other side. For now, I will love you and leave you. Kwaheri.
Ini wa ini wa. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Ngesa.
Me right now, I've been over my head and I've been stalling. You right now, love's been over your head and I've been stalling. It's gonna take me a second to come down from where I know, to come down from my high rope. Easy. It's gonna take me a while to come tell you my heart's hope, yeah. We go, yeah, man. Twende kazi, huwe, kazi, yeah, man. Twende kazi, huwe. Should be doing this harder, but I'm not right now. Should be excelling at something. Daily failing how mama taught me a lesson. Daddy told me keep stressing. Money ain't a leaf, remember. Trees cost more than your descendants. As usual, let me tell you what's different. Strings ain't pulling themselves. Mule done tooling, now helping the system. Straight out of college, I studied the Bible, but not everyone wanna be a disciple. To make it, I gotta be better at something. So I am singing, so I am yelling, kazi, yeah. Twende, kazi, yeah man, yeah. Huwe, nafanya kazi, yeah. Twende, kazi. Yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah. Hooey, 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 hooey. Thank you.
A moving performance from Matt Ngesa, so mesmerizing, such grace and such emotion. Hello, my name is Philippe Sinyembo, and right here on the Nextgen 254 TV talk show, we are tackling mental health. Yes, mental health has entered the chat. And now, after graduates have finished their course, you have conquered it, then what? And now with the job seeking, they're also probably wondering how they're going to get the jobs, how they're going to handle the interviews. And some even face disappointments, depression, and even suicidal thoughts and burnouts. Well, with me here, we have Mr. Ehud Sifa, a psychologist who will be discussing on this matter. Thank you, Mr. Sifa, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I think this is a really good conversation to have. A bit of introduction. I am a psychologist, as you said. Currently working on my thesis.
Right.
And I do practice with two of my colleagues, so that's a bit about me.
So this business or the firm that you're in, is it something that you've always pictured yourself being in? Is it the space that you've always seen yourself in?
That's a very good question. I don't think I have always seen myself in this space.
All right.
It's something that developed over time. Out of necessity and I guess out of the trajectory that my career path was taking. So, yeah.
All right. So speaking on career paths, there could be some people here who are feeling lost. So with the aspect of mental health, when you look at a person or when you interact with someone, what are the signs that someone may be struggling mentally in terms of finding a job or even finding that path in their careers?
Right. So usually with graduation, that's a transition space, right? So you are coming from a space of where you're in school and you're transitioning into the job market. And we also need to look at the reality of what that means for the individual who's graduating, which is you are now expected to be financially responsible for yourself. And usually that's a challenging thing to do. So some of the things to look out for would be how much stress are you under? Is the stress chronic or is it healthy? Because there's a difference between the two. So healthy stress would be, for instance, you go to the gym, you exercise, you work out. Your body's in pain for a bit and then you're done with that and it's good. Then the toxic stress would be you're under constant chronic stress. So you are probably having trouble sleeping. Your diet has taken a hit.
Right.
Your relationships are in shambles. So there's a sense of withdrawal or isolation from things you used to do or used to previously enjoy. So those are just a bit of the early signs or things people could look out for.
And when a friend is interacting with someone else, how can they differentiate between maybe their friend having a bad week or whether it's like a mental health concern? How can they differentiate between that?
Well, if you're interacting and you see your friend or a peer and you want to know the difference, usually a bad week would be you have a stressful week in school, that comes, it goes. But then if you are persistently or consistently or constantly under stress, or your friend is constantly saying, things are tough, things are tough, things are tough, things are tough, then I think that would be something to really dig into for your friend and also with your friend. So is it a consistent thing that they are mentioning?
Okay.
And how often are they mentioning that thing? Something else would also be to look out for, are they engaging as they previously used to? Or has something changed? So those are things, that would be helpful to look out for in that case.
Right. So now how would they apply with being there to support somebody that they know is maybe feeling some type of way without minimizing or invalidating what they're experiencing? How can they offer support?
Yeah, the quality of our relationships also determine the quality of our lives. So then for you to show up in a way that's supportive, I think you need to be willing to offer space for your friend. And space or support doesn't mean that you're going to fix them. It simply means that you're there and that you're genuinely interested in knowing how they are doing. So sometimes people just need to know that I can connect to you and I can share my struggle with you and not feel judged and not feel like I need to hide. Because one of the things that makes us hide is shame. So this idea of let's not feel, let's not talk about it. How will you view me when I share this with you?
Yes.
Right? And so ideally you want to be in a space where you can be that non-judgmental friend for your friend who may be struggling. And I think that's one of the big things in terms of offering support.
And now in the family setup, because sometimes mental health, the talk of it is already like, you know, stirring or making people a bit stiff about it. How can we create a space where in the family setup particularly, mental health can be something that is open, you know, for talk? Yes. How can that be created at all?
That's usually a tough one, to be honest. I think for those of us who've grown up we are all African.
Yeah, yes.
So we've grown up in African homes where talking about emotions is not the norm, right? But I think over the generations that has been changing, and with the current generation of parents that I see, there's usually space for that. And so I would say we are not there yet, but we are getting there. Yeah, I think it's more about awareness building around some of these emotional mental health challenges in those spaces. And usually depending on the demographic you're talking to, if you're talking to parents or you're talking to emerging adults, so these are the guys in campus. If you're talking to adolescents, those conversations will look different for the different demographics. Because if I wanted to present such a conversation to parents, and let's say older parents, maybe those who are in their 60s, 70s, it would be very different if I'm speaking to guys who are in campus. So those two demographics would be very different.
Okay.
But yeah.
So after, you know, friends trying to offer their support and maybe families trying to open up the space of freely talking about mental health, now where can young people find the help? Because, you know, sometimes some of us can have friends that can tell us, oh, you need professional help. Where do they go to and where exactly do they start from and how do they start?
How do they start? Well, how do they start is that they need to be willing to find the help themselves. Then, assuming you're in campus, I know a lot of universities do have counseling centers, which I believe are free for students. Then, beyond campus, a lot of NGOs out here also offer free or affordable mental health care. There's also a lot of helplines, the Red Cross, Befrienders Kenya. Also faith-based initiatives. So if you are, say, Christian or Muslim, I know some of those spaces also offer counseling services to their congregants. So there's a number of spaces where people could actually get help. And that's when it comes to seeing a professional. Because sometimes some of the things you do might not necessarily require you to see a professional, but are beneficial to your mental health. So if you are, say, consistent in your routines with things like sleep, exercise, diet, maintaining social connection, those things do impact your mental health in a positive way. So pick and choose.
Oh, okay. All right. So now when someone comes to you, since you're a psychologist, right, and they're looking for help, maybe they might feel like, oh, I don't want any of those God stuff, right? So what would you say they would expect when going for therapy or going for counseling? What do they expect from that?
Right, so what you expect, and ideally, I guess this also kind of answers what to look out for, or what you should be looking out for. I think therapy, first of all, we need to understand that it is a relational aspect. There's a huge relational aspect in it. So, one, you shouldn't feel pressured. If you are the one seeking therapy, you shouldn't feel pressured that it has to work with this particular individual. Maybe there's just something about the connection there that is not doing it for you, and that's absolutely okay. The goal here is for you to find your healing. So your healing doesn't need to come from me. It could maybe come from Felive or someone else, and that's okay. So knowing that you are free to choose where you feel you are safe. So the other thing then is safety. You need to feel safe in that space. You need to know that whatever is discussed there is confidential as well. But there are limits to confidentiality. So that's also something you need to be informed about should you be seeking out such services. The fourth thing maybe to expect or to ask about is to check around your therapist's professional backgrounds, because there are quacks here, out here. So it's important to ask them, okay, so where did you go to school? Are you certified? Do you do your own personal therapy? Do you do supervision? So all those things are some things to expect and also look out for if you are seeking professional help.
All right. Then what would you say now to someone who's watching, who's feeling hopeless, unseen, or even unheard, and they might also feel like they're running out of time when it comes to trying to find a job, trying to establish themselves in the employment line, and also trying to fend for themselves? What is it that you would say to them?
Right. So I would say, in this process of a job search, sometimes you can feel like you are a failure. And I think your past and your current struggles or challenges do not make you a failure. The question for you, or from me to you, would be, what would your life look like if your story is not the story of someone who's a failure? So that's what I would say to you. What does your life look like if your story is someone who's actually a success, or someone who can be a success, rather than, oh man, I'm such a failure. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your insights, and I really appreciate it, and we appreciate having you on the show. And a question to the audience, this is to you. You can let us know in the comments down below, how do we create a space where mental health can be freely talked about in the family setup and also in campus? I can repeat that again. How do we create a space to talk about mental health concerns in the family setup and also on campus? Feel free to comment down below. And right now we'll be taking a short break. I've been your host, Felive Sinyembo. Keep watching.
Twende kazi. Here to perform his debut Colors single Muse. Welcome once more, Matt Ngesa.
News, there's something different in the news. There's something different in the air, barely letting us go. News, there's something different in the water. Bodies swimming in it, getting caught up, barely letting us go. If this is all we have together, I hope what we had is enough. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. Muse up in your tower, far from reach, locked in your tower, kept in your keep. Would you let your hair down for me? There's something tragic in the water, bodies swimming in it, getting caught up. Would you let your hair down for me? If this is all we had together, I hope what we had is enough. I hope what we had is enough. Oh. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ooh. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hey. Ooh.
Welcome back to Nextgen 254, and we are getting to an interesting part of the show that I love so much, where I get to have a roundtable conversation with my co-host. And Feliv, Faith, this episode today was packed with so many things. Sure. We've gotten to look at pivotal points that are affecting the young people of our country. How do we transition into the marketplace? What does that do to our mental health? And Faith, you are on the ground. Vitu kwa ground zinasemaje?
Ziko, very vocal, for sure. We were in the Kenyan streets, our team went and we did a bunch of statistics to look at the rate of unemployment of the Kenyan youth. And we did find that roughly 10% of the Kenyan youth are employed in the formal sector. The rest are either unemployed or informally employed. And most of them are either doing something that they didn't even learn or had to learn very quickly just to get the jobs. So there's way too many graduates that are out in the street who have applied for plenty of jobs, sent out CVs, used their connections, but are still jobless. So I think this would be a good time to watch the documentary, Wendy. Yeah?
For sure. This is what we have for you.
Graduation, the end of a journey and the beginning of another. For many, it marks the start of a dream, but for some, it is the beginning of a nightmare. In a country where jobs are few and far between, the competition is brutal. Not every graduate gets through the front door. The youth makes up more than 20% of the country's population. Unfortunately, roughly only 10% of Kenyan youth are employed in the formal sector, even though over 9.5 million in Kenya are aged 15 to 34 years old. With the rate of unemployment being 67% among the youth, despair is a very easy gateway to exploitation. In 2023, the Federation of Kenya Employers found that a large portion of the workforce was employed in roles that do not match their formal training. Some parents, driven by love and desperation, put themselves in their children's shoes to help them get ahead. But in a man-eat-man system, everybody suffers. What to do when the system is a broken one?
Feliv, when we look at such numbers that were captured on the ground by Faith, It's disheartening, to say the least. And you had a guest who talked into what this does to our mental health.
Yes.
How bad do you think this can get for the youth of this country?
Well, it can get to a point where they feel like they have failed in life. They can also have burnouts. They feel like, oh, this is not worth it anymore. So taking my own life would be the way to go. That's what I would point it out as is. Yeah.
Yeah, but as hard as it was, I'm glad that we were able to bring the element of hope, because all is not lost. Faith, interesting bit is we are studying certain courses, but when we get to the marketplace, it's not what we practice. What were the rough numbers looking like? And I want you to just touch on that. We are studying A, but practicing B.
Yeah.
And that's the reality on the ground, you know? Yeah.
It is unfortunate because, especially for people who went to university, went to campus, even went to technical universities, around 80% of them allegedly are not practicing what they learned. So it feels like wasted money at some point, you know. You go to school, you study for something, but then you end up having a job opportunity in a different sector, and you're like, okay, maybe I can try my hand at this. And you do try, but then what happens to the money that you spent to study beforehand?
Yeah, and is it value for money? I mean, we've all gone through the system, and that's a very, very good question and a place of reflection. That, Philip, how much have we pumped into the system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can ask that again.
Yeah, yeah, we've pumped into the system for a good education, a good paper, but you get to the marketplace and that just doesn't work. But interesting bits came out for me, especially that it's like a double-edged sword. We have very many people statistically who are not getting jobs or practicing in fields that they were not ready for. But we have the other end of the spectrum where we have people who are landing jobs after jobs, and by the time they are coming out of campus, they are having jobs. What do you think would make us ready? Number one, someone said, my guest said, let's leverage on networks and stay ready and volunteer. Felive, I know you watched that. What was your 2 cents about it?
Well, it made me realize how important networking is, because you never know who you could meet, right? It can be even anybody in class. It could be at an event, an official event, or just any other outing. You meet with someone and you just engage with them. You know, it's not just about, oh, okay, I don't feel like socializing, or I don't feel like talking to this person. It's important because when you want to maybe build yourself in a certain field or in a certain area of expertise, then you can at least put yourself out there so that whatever it is that you want to engage yourself in, you can find a way to, you know, build it up just because you networked, you put yourself out there, you talked about yourself, branding yourself. Yeah, that's what I could piece it as the way it is. Yes.
And that was really key. Faith. I'm just laughing here because I know the experience on the ground was really interesting. We've seen the recent protests that we had, and we are living in times where people are saying we are woke. You know, we know what's up. You know, we know what's up. And I mean, we've had conversations where we're literally talking about how the Gen Zs leave work. You know, they're giving the employers character development. You know, Faith, you wake up today and tomorrow you don't have employees because they deem themselves woke. They know what's up, and that's a problem because you're employed 3 months into it, you've left. Anguka nayo, I don't know what. Toxicity, I mean. But what's the future of especially the corporate place, Faith, with such trends? Yeah.
I think there's always room for change. There's always room for something else to improve upon and be implemented into the workforce. Because right now we're seeing also the rise of AI. We're even seeing AI interviewers. I mean, it's not in Kenya yet, but there's AI job interviews. So even right now, there's social media. They check your social media, you know, before you get interviewed for the job, or even after, to see whether you've gotten a job.
That's important, girl. Preach it.
Yeah. So it's important to keep it clean, you know, over there on the other side. So I think even with the introduction of Gen Z into the workforce, whether it's the new Gen Z, the old Gen Z, still I think it's going to bring in changes of one. less toxic workspaces, I think. Yeah, because even though they may seem like, I spoke to a few younger Gen Z, and even though they may seem like, oh, their demands are way out of pocket, there is some truth to it. So I think it brings in reviews within the workforce itself, and I think also it's important to meet each other halfway for the Gen Z as well, to just give it a chance before you leave your workplace, before you demand for times 10 salary. I think it's important to meet each other halfway.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that, because I have been in spaces where the traditional HR people, practitioners, and our parents, our folks, have constantly said, you need to bring value to the table. You know, there's this notion that when you leave campus, you have to start making the bucks and you know, securing yourself, and you know, by 25 you're driving or you're building or you're whatever. And this is the notion that we young people have, but on the ground that's not true. However, I want to hear what you guys think on creating value for what you will be paid for, because I am a big fan and believer of you will be paid what someone thinks you're worth, what you believe you're worth, and actually the value that you bring. So there's a gap, Felipe, there's a gap, Faith, where you have an academic paper, but that's just not enough, you know? That's just not enough, the value that you bring to it. And I would want you to speak on that, yeah.
So a paper, is not enough. What you have learned on the practical side of it is what is essential, because now when you're put out there in the field, it's not theory that you're going to apply. It's the thing that you like carried out, you know, maybe even you can use it as an extracurricular, or like in your free time. What are you doing with your free time? Time is, it's such a big thing. Like what do you do with your time, basically? Not just being in school for the vibes, you know. What exactly are you doing to ensure that when you do get to a space to be in the corporate world or whatever field that you are in, how much of value are you bringing to the organization?
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. And I like, you remember when Faith mentioned about branding and putting yourself out there. We're living in times where we have so much technological advancements, and AI being the new you and I, everything that you put out there is like your walking resume. It has two sides of it. The flip side of it is right now people are more empowered into more opportunities. You don't have to wait for employment per se for you to really make it. Faith, what are some of the areas that we can start looking at? We have beauty, we have, I mean, countless, but we can just highlight a few that people can look into, even as we struggle with the big gap that we have in the marketplace.
I think I can speak to just for AI, because this was also a topic that was happening among the youth. They're like, AI is taking our jobs, but it hasn't really gotten to that point yet where AI has like totally wiped off a job here in Kenya. You know, we still have the jobs that we can do manually, that clearly a shoe shiner, you know, the interaction that you have with your shoe shiner when you go to town and you're just like, I want to buy you a cup of tea, that is irreplaceable. So I think, maybe we can use it to further scientific advancements.
That's
know?
true.
What if we use it to create new cures for like cancer? What if we use it to make other people's work easier? Like to need more bread in the bakeries, you know? Let's think about it like that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's being demonized a lot because people are replacing it like to replace their brains. It's making people lazy, so to speak. That's how it's spoken about in school. But there's the other side of it. Why don't we focus on the other side of it? You know?
Yeah, and I like Faith's part where you literally deal with the numbers and statistics. And allegedly, 85% of people in African democracies are yet to even interact with the AI.
Imagine. Oh, wow.
That's quite something. And we would argue the education system is failing us, because if you can imagine, if our kids are yet to even interact with any form of AI, China kids are already further ahead.
Yeah.
And I like what you say, because the truth is AI is not necessarily here to replace us. The truth is some jobs will be wiped off because then you'll be rendered redundant. But it's you embracing it and making it help you execute faster. For example, here at Nextgen 254, you guys keep on sending in your feedback, and we work to bring you conversations that are impactful, informative, and educative, and all this is just to empower you. I mean, when we're doing our scripts, I'm always telling ChatGPT, can I do a PDF? Yes. Can I, you know what? Yes, because then I can replace that time with ensuring that the show is more interactive, is more educative, and ChatGPT is there to help us. So that is just one way we can show how it has helped us. Philip, how does AI help you now in today's life?
It just gives me ideas. You know, we don't necessarily have to like go with exactly what ChatGPT or AI gives
Because
you.
sometimes it hallucinates.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So it's just safer to like, okay, you can have your prompt, but then what is the plan B at the back of your mind? Yeah. So I have AI, or the use of AI is just to make like a game plan, or like to draw a map, so to say. Yes.
And that helps us stay ahead of time. But I'll take the tone a bit lower and say some of these pressures are getting to us.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, some days I wake up and I'm like, am I sure I need to be on this show? Am I sure hosting is the way, you know?
Right.
And as much as very many people send feedback to us and say, oh, you guys are lovely, you hosts are... Yeah, there are days I have fragments of doubt,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm not so sure if this is it. And I can only imagine, with the numbers that you gave us, how the bigger picture looks like with the younger demographic of people. That means our mental health is really at jeopardy. Faith, what are some of the ways that you make sure you remain mentally afloat? You don't have to be on the further end of the spectrum to stay sane, you know? But let's just talk about how we can stay afloat, because man, oh man, the pressures are there.
It can get
The
worse.
pressures are there.
It can get there.
Yeah.
I think, well, for me, I just learned to remind myself that even the greatest of people have doubts of their greatness. So it's just to sit with those feelings, to experience them, not to block them away, and just have that time and remind myself and say, I'm loved, you know. I have people who are willing to show up for me, even if it feels like there's no people there. Just hang out with a friend, hang out with a family member. Even if you don't have somebody who you feel like you can hang out with, just go out. Try to interact with somebody in the streets. Do a random conversation, you know, and just realize that yes, it feels like your life is heavy, but there's a lot of other lives out there. There's so many people who have felt these things and they're still alive, they're still breathing, they're still kicking. There's always another chance for tomorrow, for you to make it tomorrow.
Yeah, and we keep on telling you, please keep watching Nextgen 254 because we care. Philip, we do care.
Yeah, we do.
But the truth is, there's a twist in the plot. Social media. Have you ever woken up in the morning, you're just barely ready for the day? You know, someone has gone to the gym, they've gotten their proteins in. I mean, I'm like, wow. Wow. So Philip, social media is contributing to these pressures, you know. Let's tell our Nextgen 254 tribe, how do we remain balanced in this ecosystem?
Detox. At some point, we will have to normalize detoxing ourselves, because now with social media, it comes with comparison. We'll start to compare ourselves. We see all these content creators, they have like maybe a lavish lifestyle. Like you said, they're going to the gym, they're eating healthy, and then maybe you look at yourself and you're like, oh, well, I look the way I look, and that makes me to feel like I'm not good enough. No, you are. It's just, you have to put yourself in a healthy environment where you remind yourself that who you are is not a mistake. And then also with dealing with mental health, it's a part of life. It's not weakness. So when you find yourself struggling, it doesn't negate the fact that you can actually do something with yourself and also establish success in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite some wisdom there, Philippe. Thank you. And Faith, there are a few things that today's episode just highlighted, and I would want us to now really put them out there as we wrap up the show. There's the element of being ready and creating value, you know, even as you study. And my guest told us that he started working even when he was in campus, you know. And I want us to take a moment and just really drill that in and reflect on that, because most of the times, even with social media and comparison, people think they don't want to do the manual jobs. Let's call them that. I mean, someone feels like, oh, why would I really go to Daystar or USIU or UIN or MKU and then go be a volunteer? Miss me on that, you know, miss me on that.
Yeah.
But I think even from the statistics you had and from the conversation you had, it's a reality that we cannot do away with the traditional ways all the same.
Yeah.
You need to build a portfolio for it to create visibility for you. Let me throw it to you, Faith, and then to Felive. And I like it. You know, I appreciate you guys with double Fs. It makes it very easy for me on the show. Yeah. And a couple of our listeners always tell us that. But let me throw it to you. How do you now create value, position yourself even as you transition? Because some transition, it's hard, but I'm like, girl, dude, you're not doing anything. You are not doing anything, you know. So how do we create value and package ourselves?
I think first of all is to learn that if you're rejected for something, it means that it wasn't yours from the beginning, from the get-go, you know. So don't take it as a, oh my God, I'm finished, and Just take it as an opportunity to learn what was I not good for there, or was that even right for me, you know? And even when you're idle, or rather maybe you're waiting for a job opportunity to come through, learn a new trade, learn a new, and not necessarily just like abandoning your job altogether, but learn the piano. It's a hobby, you know? It will keep your mind off that. Go learn some graphic skills. Do something that is totally outside of what you do. But trust me, it will never go to waste. Yeah, just add on your skills. It will be needed someday.
Fantastic. Felive, how do we stay ready? How do we stay mentally afloat?
I think it's also in the line of what Faith was talking about. We should love learning, by the way, because when you learn new things, you acquire new skills. You know, you have a different perspectives on different things. And on the mental health aspect, make sure that you just... Ooh, I'm losing myself. On the mental health aspect, make sure you don't put yourself down. Yeah, you don't put yourself down, because if you have a vision, first of all, if you have a vision for yourself, then you see yourself going ahead. You're not going back, right? So just learn new things, pick up some new skills. It's fun, I promise. I have so many interests in languages. That's what I do in my free time. I just learn different languages and different cultures, and also music related stuff. Yeah, just learn, because in this life you will never stop learning. So learn so that you can know where you can place yourself and where you can bring value to whoever it is that actually finds you, and for who finds value in you.
Fantastic. I believe today's episode has been really packed. I mean, even as I was speaking, I was learning, because just the way you're saying, learning is a continuous curveball. And we want to appreciate you for the live audience that we had. For those of you who joined us virtually, it's a big thank you to all of you here at we continue bringing you conversations that will inform, engage, and empower you, and we're looking forward to interacting with your comments, with what you have to share with us, and tell us, how did this episode impact you, and where can we continue growing so that we all make this space bearable for all of us. That was it for us today. We will see you next week in our next episode. For today, we will love you and leave you. Kwaheri.